Most people go through life repeating the same patterns without ever realizing why things feel stuck. Then one day, something shifts, and you suddenly see the truth that was right in front of you the entire time. These are the lessons people usually learn only after life pushes them hard enough to finally pay attention. Learn them early, and everything changes. People treat you how you treat yourself. If you pay attention to people long enough, you'll notice something interesting. The world mirrors how you see yourself. Not perfectly, not instantly, but consistently. Humans read each other in milliseconds. We pick up on posture, tone, eye contact, pace, confidence, hesitation, all of it. These tiny signals are constantly telling others, here's my level of worth. Here's how to interact with me. Psychologists call this your self-schema. It's your internal blueprint, your quiet beliefs about what you deserve, how people should treat you, and who you think you are in the hierarchy of life. And without knowing it, you broadcast that blueprint in every conversation. If you see yourself as an afterthought, you'll speak like one. If you carry yourself like someone who always needs to earn their place, you'll act as if you're seeking permission. And people respond accordingly. But when you begin treating yourself with respect, calmly, consistently, and confidently, you shift into a different category, not above anyone, just grounded. People feel that. They adjust to it. Humans naturally sync to the emotional tone of the person who seems most stable. And when that person is you, everything from your relationships to your opportunities begins to change. Self-respect isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It simply refuses to shrink. And that alone transforms how people treat you. Once you stop abandoning yourself, the world stops abandoning you too. Time boundaries shape your identity. If you've ever wondered why people don't seem to respect your time, the answer is often surprisingly simple. You've unintentionally taught them not to. When you reply instantly to every message, when you say yes before thinking, when you cancel your own plans to fit someone else's schedule, you send a message, even if you don't mean to. The message is, my time is wide open. My needs can wait. My priorities are flexible. Yours matter more. Human behavior adapts to what feels easy. If your time feels endlessly available, people treat it as endlessly expendable. But something powerful happens when you begin valuing your minutes. You stop rushing. You finish what you're doing before responding. You take time to process instead of jumping to please. You don't rearrange your entire day because someone else wasn't organized. You move at your own pace, not the speed of pressure around you. This isn't about ignoring people. It's about demonstrating quietly but clearly that your schedule, your energy, and your mental space matter. When your time becomes valuable to you, it becomes valuable to everyone else. And more importantly, your identity shifts. You stop feeling like a supporting character in your own life. You start moving like someone who has direction, purpose, and structure. Most people don't realize that the way they treat their time slowly becomes the way they treat themselves. When you protect your minutes, you protect your confidence because you're telling your mind, my life has order. I matter enough to create space for myself. Predictability makes you invisible. Every person in your life has a mental file for you. It's filled with the patterns you've shown them, how you react, what you avoid, what you tolerate, how predictable you are. And once people think they know you, they stop looking closely. Predictability is comfortable, but it also makes you blend into the background of people's expectations. When you always choose the path of least resistance, your presence becomes familiar to the point of invisibility. But humans notice what breaks patterns. The brain is wired to seek novelty. Anything unexpected pulls attention instantly. That means even small changes in your behavior can reset how people see you. If you're always quiet, speaking with clarity surprises people. If you always agree, offering your real opinion creates a shift. If you're always available, choosing yourself shocks the system. If you always avoid conflict, calmly setting a boundary is enough for people to rethink who they're talking to. Transformation doesn't require reinvention. It requires interruption. The moment you stop performing the version of yourself that others have memorized. What's interesting is how quickly this works. One moment of self-assertion can change how someone treats you for months. One clear no can reset an entire relationship. One decision to show your real personality can make people realize they never knew you at all. Predictability might feel safe, but growth begins the moment you allow yourself to evolve in ways others didn't expect. You don't have to apologize for existing. It's surprising how many people walk through life apologizing for things that don't require forgiveness. Being confused, having needs, taking up space, asking questions, even just existing in the same aisle at the grocery store. These apologies stack up over time, shaping a quiet belief that you are somehow a burden. Unnecessary apologies signal fear. Fear of bothering someone, fear of taking attention, fear of being seen. But over-apologizing also teaches people to see you as someone who expects to be minimized. Confidence, on the other hand, is not the absence of mistakes, it's the absence of unnecessary apologies. Try replacing "sorry I'm late" with "thanks for waiting." Replace "sorry to ask" with "do you have a moment?" Replace "sorry" but with "I think." These small shifts communicate something subtle, that you belong in the conversation. You're not interrupting life, you're participating in it. When you stop apologizing for your existence, your presence naturally expands. People begin treating you like someone whose words matter because you're finally treating yourself that way. And over time, something even more powerful happens. You start to trust your voice. You speak without shrinking. You ask without feeling guilty. You become clearer, calmer, and more grounded. Not because the world changed, but because you stopped asking permission to be in it. Silence is a psychological strategy. Most people fear silence so much that they rush to fill it with nervous explanations or quick answers. But silence is one of the most powerful tools in human communication. The 2-second pause is a psychological reset. When you pause before speaking, you signal confidence and groundedness. Your mind stays calmer. Your thoughts arrange themselves. You sound clearer, stronger, and more intentional. Silence also makes people listen. It creates anticipation. It communicates that you're thinking, not reacting. And in a world where everyone rushes to respond, the person who takes their time stands out. Silence helps in conflict. It helps in decision-making. It helps in leadership. It helps in self-respect. You don't need to dominate the room. You just need to occupy it with calm presence. Psychologists have found that people automatically assign more authority to the person who is least rattled by quiet moments. They're seen as more capable, more thoughtful, and more trustworthy. That's the power of stillness. You don't have to force silence, you just stop running from it. Letting moments breathe is how you regain control of both yourself and the conversation. Your values decide what you tolerate. In every stage of life, people push boundaries to understand where they stand with you. Not necessarily in a malicious way, but because that's how humans learn the rules of any relationship. The problem is that many people tolerate far more than they should because they don't want to lose connection. But everything you tolerate becomes a silent agreement. If you ignore disrespect, people assume it doesn't bother you. If you keep forgiving without change, people assume you'll always do it. If you say it's fine when it's not, people assume you're unbreakable or worse, that you're not worth adjusting for. Your values are your compass. When you know what matters, honesty, kindness, consistency, effort, you gain clarity about what cannot be allowed to continue. You don't need to argue for your values. You just need to uphold them. Quiet consistency is far more powerful than emotional explanations. And when you do, you'll notice something surprising. Your life becomes calmer. The right people rise to meet your standards. The wrong people remove themselves. And you start feeling more like yourself. Not the version of you who is trying to keep everyone comfortable, but the version who finally feels steady on the inside. Walking away is one of the most powerful human signals. Walking away is difficult for most people because it feels final. It feels like losing something. But emotional maturity reveals the opposite. Leaving unhealthy situations is how you reclaim yourself. People understand actions more quickly than words. You can talk about your worth, your limits, and your standards, but the moment you walk away from a disrespectful dynamic, the message becomes unmistakable. Walking away isn't dramatic. It's decisive. It communicates that you don't rely on someone's approval to feel whole. It shows that you won't negotiate your self-respect. And strangely enough, your absence often teaches the lesson your presence could not. And here's something people learn far too late. Walking away is not abandonment. It's alignment. It's choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, direction over stagnation. Many of the strongest chapters of your life begin after you walk away from the ones that were keeping you small. The door you close today often becomes the reason you grow tomorrow. Your life changes when your signals change. Here's the moment everything comes together. Your life responds to the signals you send, not the signals you speak, but the ones you live. When your boundaries strengthen, people interact with you differently. When your confidence rises, your opportunities expand. When you stop apologizing, your voice gains weight. When you value your time, others do too. When your values become non-negotiable, your relationships evolve. When you're willing to walk away, you stop settling. And when you change your internal signals, your entire external world begins to shift around them. This isn't overnight. It's gradual, subtle, quiet, but life starts aligning with the version of you that shows up with self-respect instead of self-doubt. And one day, without realizing it, you look around and notice that everything feels different because you are different, more grounded, more confident, more centered, more aware of your worth. If this helped you see life a little more clearly, consider subscribing. There's more to explore, and you're not alone on the journey.